Sunday, and I thought I'd make another video. So I am sitting on my bed, and I am yapping away at this camera. So today, I got up, and I need to start looking for work. I really do. And a lot of mental blocks start formulating in your mind after you've experienced something like this. Because like I said, you never know if you're going to encounter somebody who's sick, which I think that everybody who called me in and wasted my time, do I believe that they have a certain sickness? Yes, I do. Like I mentioned in several of my other videos, mental illness is not as uncommon, or it's actually more common than we think, okay? Some people just have tendencies to like to harass people, and they have a certain amount of cruelty about them, and they have absolutely no reservations about behaving like a complete jerk. Right, first I'd like to say that, I don't want people to get the impression of me that I'm a disrespectful person. I have always been raised to greet people who are older than myself, for example, as Mr. and Mrs. I've always been extremely polite. But in a situation like what I've gone through with the harassment and dealing with people who are supposed to be professional, keeping my issues relating to employment confidential, and then also, of course, I'm dealing with people who are creating rumors, and then even worse, I'm dealing with idiots who are acting on rumors. Like I said, it's very natural for somebody to want to retaliate or get revenge, okay? So we talked about, I mentioned before in some of my videos about how people have gone postal and that sort of thing. I'm not doing that, okay? But I would like people to understand that if I have said anything inappropriate, like maybe slipped out a cuss word or something, I want you to understand that this program, and it is a program, is something that induces a considerable amount of stress. It is terrifying. It's like when you are a targeted individual, you literally have no place to go. And some people say, "Oh, you have a job." No, I don't have a job. In my mind, the job that I go to every morning, I don't believe that it's my job. I do not associate it with it. I don't want to think about it. I want nothing to do with the job other than make my money and get out of there. And the sad part is that the reason why I say I don't have a place to go is because I feel like when this sort of gossip and these rumors and all this stuff gets circulated throughout, your state, your country, and you got people sending emails from even other countries, you are terrified because you feel like you can't get away from this nightmare. So it's really important that I express that. I believe in showing everybody consideration and respect, no matter what, their race, religion, their background, whatever. Okay, my first initial meeting is going to be very polite, okay? And during those interaction, if a person comes off to me as someone who is just rude or evil or something, then I have to base my opinion of them based on that interaction and that sort of thing. But I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Now, I'm in an environment where that is not really possible, okay? And, I do realize that there's racism everywhere. And I'm not the kind of person that likes to bring up race a lot because it's a very heated issue. And you can tell that it's a heated issue because, in this case, I was accused of playing the race card when I didn't even play the race card, okay? So you get a lot of people who want to throw that on you. They want to accuse you of creating issues, and I'm not the person who did that. I went to work, and I was dealing with a lot of harassment. I had told the farmer one time he had an email. This is like before the whole mobbing issue came, and I told him, I said, I suspect that I'm going to be mobbed out of this job. And I knew something was happening, okay? I didn't quite know exactly what, but I knew that something was going on. And, where was I going with this? My point is that I have to be careful. I'm in an environment where the very way that they handle this situation, the very fact that, somebody can do something that is just flat out illegal, and they can continue to work. And yet I'm somebody who follows the rules and tries to apply myself to the best of my ability, and I would never put a company under a risk of being sued, but yet I'm the one who's struggling to find a decent job. That's a way of, this is one way of letting people understand that what happens in this world is completely corrupt. And so, I do realize that that I've been out of work for a very long time. In my mind, even though I'm working, I still consider myself unemployed. And the reason why is because it's not the kind of work that I want to do, okay? I want to be in an environment where I'm happy. I want to be in an environment where I enjoy going to work. I miss, social interactions, the light banter, the sort of light camaraderie that is supposed to be developed in a workplace. It's non-existent where I am right now. And like I said, in a way, I didn't choose this job, okay? They put you in a situation where you have no choice but to accept a job. So I need people to understand that I am not in any way doing something that is rebellious or wrong, okay? Like I said in my other video, I had to say something because these people were destroying my life and they were breaking the law and they were subjecting their will upon me in something that I have no interest in doing. So I don't want anything to do with these previous employers who thought it was okay to jump in on an issue that, number one, I don't believe it existed. Whatever they're so, because I had left my husband a few years ago, and then they were like hovering over me. I don't even understand why they feel like that has anything to do with them or anything to do with work, okay? But in this situation, I am a star employee, and what I mean by that is that I would be a great asset to any company that hired me. I would consider myself to be a valuable employee, someone who has a lot of knowledge and a lot of skill. And for me to be working this job and basically kind of being isolated in a community, I don't deserve that. I don't deserve any of it. And a lot of it is fueled by racism, obviously. So, and like I said, I'm not the kind of person who wants to talk about race a lot, but in this situation, it can't be denied. It cannot be denied. So, because, I'm going to tell you that I've encountered a lot of people in this town who told me that their kids were selling drugs, their kid knocked at somebody, didn't pay any child support. They themselves have gone to jail multiple times. I never stayed a day overnight in jail. I've never been in jail, okay? I'm going to tell you that compared to some of the people that I've encountered here in this town, that I would say that my life is just like a clean, sparkling, I don't know what you want to call it, but I would say that I would have a halo on my head, whereas some of the people that I've met have horns in their head, and yet they want to attribute every negative stereotype of what they think a black person lives, and yet they are the ones who are living the lifestyle that is questionable. Now, like I said, I feel like I'm out of character here because I have a really good sense of humor. I'm a very lively person. I like to laugh. I like to joke. I like to be, very carefree and bubbly. But I'm in an environment where I feel like I'm just not comfortable. This is not something that I can't imagine myself staying here. I used to think that everybody, once you get to know a person, will lighten up and it'll be great. This has been a miserable place for me to live. Absolutely miserable. And, I really wish I would have truly understood the warnings that were given to me before I moved here. I can honestly say that I have not met anybody here in this town that I've actually felt like I could give my trust to. That's a very sad thing, but it's true. I mean, that's anywhere, really, but that's just, like I said, I'm dealing with a lot of racism, okay? A lot of racism, especially when it has been proven that I'm far more qualified than the majority of the people who involve themselves. I'm not saying everybody in this town, but the people who involve themselves in my targeting, I would say that I'm far better as far as my understanding of my job and my skill level. And I would say even my morals are higher, but yet, look at the situation. I mean, there's corruption in your face, okay? It's there. So, yeah, I just want to clarify that, I'm not somebody who likes to raise hell or stir up issues. Believe me, I'm the kind of person, why I feel like, that's one of the reasons why I feel like I'm shocked to be a targeted individual, even though I'm a black woman in a predominantly white area, and I know that there's a lot of racism. I'm not the kind of person who makes waves. I mean, I literally stay in my house a lot, and I go to this grocery store, I run my errands, I come home, and I don't really do anything. I don't create any issues. So to have this, like, I don't know what you want to call it, but these people basically frothing at the mouth to try to destroy me is shocking to me, okay? It's like, well, what the hell? And, you can only think that you're dealing with racism because they have no reason to interact with me the way that they do. So, I desperately, desperately want to leave Bakersfield, for the simple fact that I need to enhance my quality of life. I need to be around people where if I can have a conversation with them, I'm not dealing with people who have these preconceived ideas of me and they demand me to, I don't know, maybe see things the way they do. I don't know what it is about this town, but it's just absolutely, it's not conducive to my well-being. And obviously the job is not conducive to my well-being. I mean, I have been dealing with a lot of financial problems since leaving the farmer's place. And I can't understand how these people who claim to be so educated didn't once consider the fact that they were breaking the law. That's what blows me away. It blows me away because they're so hell-bent on destroying my life and punishing me for something that they have no right to punish me for. Okay, to me, by going to this job every day and having to deal with this bullshit, it's a form of some sort of being demoted. There's no reason for me to be demoted. There's no reason for me to have to take a job that's not really worth my that's below my skill level, and I see no reason for that. Okay, if I was a manager for 3 jobs, or if I had those experiences, those are the kind of jobs I'm supposed to be working. There's not supposed to be any of this, well, let's give her this, okay? Some people think, oh, well, because she doesn't have a bachelor's degree. Well, there's a lot of people who have less education than I do, okay? And they have jobs, and they have decent paying jobs, okay? The idea that people have to have a bachelor's degree to do this kind of work is bullshit. It's never been a law. It is not a requirement. A lot of people are under the misconception that that's the only way a person's going to fully understand accounting. I've been working in accounting for 20 years, okay? I've only gone to college for 2 years, okay? But, so I'm trying to work towards my bachelor's degree, but I'm like wondering, should I go back and try to get it, because what's the difference? I mean, it seems like if I was to do that, they would still try to block me or still try to create these problems, and that's not the issue. The issue is that I'm fully qualified to do my job. As I said, I've known people who basically came from squalor, and they're giving people all kinds of great jobs, And like I said, I've had managers before that didn't have any college at all, and that's not the point. The point is that you're supposed to have skills, and a lot of people think, well, I want to hire somebody who has a 4-year degree because they're supposed to be competent. That's not true. You'll hear a lot of employers say that, and there's also a lot of people online talking about they hired somebody thinking that they were going to be qualified. I believe hands-on experience supersedes book knowledge, because the things that you learn in college relating to accounting, and a lot of business-related issues anyway, they're taught in theory and they're not actual hands-on. So, and besides, when I first got into this kind of work, that wasn't even required. So this is a part of my takedown. It's a part of somebody trying to look for a loophole to try to destroy my life. No, I don't need. Now, you do have to have a bachelor's degree to be a certified public accountant, or to be a certified to be qualified to be a certified public accountant. You have to have a 4-year degree. I'm not a certified public accountant. That was my dream at one time, but I would rather just, that was my dream, but I was going to say that it is not, in order to take the exam, you have to have a degree, okay? But that's a licensed professional. I'm not a licensed professional. And that was never brought up. And I noticed, like, when I was working some of these jobs, like, I would be at the job for, like, maybe half a year, and this is probably part of my targeting, and then some idiot would sit there and bring it up out of the blue. Do you have your bachelor's degree? Now, I'm going to tell you this, what's weird about this. I get hired, that's never been an issue, and then you get this weird stalker, my sister or somebody along those lines, who are sitting here trying to, if it was an issue, it would have been brought up to me in the first place, okay? I'm qualified. It had nothing to do with that. I never, that wasn't even an issue when I was even hired. So that's bullshit, okay? No, I don't. I was working towards my bachelor's degree, and I got rock and rolled in school, and then I guess my mother-in-law thought I was making too much money, so she called and made me lose my job. So that was the end of the deal. Okay, so I I have made every effort to become a certified public accountant, but that's going to be in a completely different video. Yeah, so I'm just irritated by the entire thing, the whole thing. I can't see how people can't see that this is an injustice and that it was wrong and that it was completely illegal. And so, anyway, why would I make this video? Oh yeah, I guess the reason why I'm making this video is because I don't want people to think that I'm some, brash person who likes to be in an argument. I did everything I could, and if anybody in this town will probably know that I've called people who were involved in law enforcement. I've tried to contact the mayor's office. I contacted Harvey Hall. I contacted Jackie Sullivan. I had a conversation with Jackie Sullivan. I was talking to her about my issue about workplace mobbing, workplace bullying, and what I believe needed to be done to stop it, okay? She came off as extremely condescending. She probably took the attitude that, well, she doesn't go to church, and she's not a mind-controlled slave like the majority of the other people here, so I'm just going to disregard what she said. She was a part of the herd mentality. She didn't even stop to listen to my situation. She just knew that my psychopathic family was harassing me, and she thought it was okay for that to happen. There's a lot of ignorance in this town. There's a lot of ignorance, and that's not to say it in a way to put people down. It's just the fact that, you got a lot of people who claim to be Christian. They don't know anything about the religion. You have a lot of people who think that they could behave this way and that it's okay. What offends me so much about this is that, if somebody said, if I said I want to be a manager of a company, for example, and somebody would say, well, you have to think about what you want versus what you need. That's not for anybody to question what a person wants or needs. I'm an individual. I have the right to do what I want to do. To say, that's like me saying, well, I remember when I was working at Flourishing, Alita's husband was like a fireman. Okay, that would be like me saying, well, you know what, you don't need to be a fireman. You need to be an EMT. That's what you need to do. How dare somebody ever make that decision for somebody? How dare somebody say, and then they're going to turn around and say, oh, racism doesn't exist. They're going to turn around. They'll be the first person to say, oh, those things don't exist. Those things don't really happen. And when you hear about a lot of people, minorities, whether that be racial minorities, religious minorities, whatever, people say, hey, I'm being discriminated against, you get these same people who say, oh, we live in a free country. I don't know what you're talking about, but yet they're the ones who are doing this sort of damage. They don't connect the dots that this is a problem, and it's very real, and it happens. And many of the people actually participated in it. They participated in it for those very reasons, okay? So I think this is an eye-opening situation. People need to open their eyes and say, hey, you know what? This is a psychological phenomenon. Workplace mobbing, community gang stalking is a psychological phenomenon because a lot of people who ordinarily would not behave in a terrible way, like resorting to evil tactics, lying, this sort of thing, resort to doing exactly what they usually would not do, and they don't ever think for one moment that what they're doing is wrong. My husband used to tell me that, and I'm going to tell you what, I may not have liked his mom as a buddy friend or anything, but I would say that I trusted her, and the reason why is because my husband would say, my mom is such a good woman. She tries to be a good Christian. She never lies. She has never told a single lie. And I thought, wow, you know what? She probably hasn't ever told a lie. Well, guess what? She was responsible. She made me lose my job. She was sitting here lying to my face, and she's the one who has been assisting or lending her hand in manipulating my job. I don't care what her reasons were. She had no right to do that, okay? But my point is that people who may ordinarily have good morals and ethics behave in a way that's completely opposite of what they claim to be. So my thing is that this is something that people really need to look at, and it proves a lot. It proves a lot about racism. It proves a lot about the fact that many people don't know much about the religion, but yet they're willing to shove it down somebody's throat. It talks about herd mentality, how people are easily influenced by someone that they perceive to have authority. It also shows the fact that people aren't really willing to question authority to make sure that their actions are ethical and that they're actually right, okay? It also shows that, you know what, the whole theory of a bachelor's degree being needed to do a job is bullshit, okay? Because most of the people who did this had bachelor's or master's degrees, and yet they didn't have the knowledge and skill to realize that these people were breaking all the laws that are not even real intricate laws that you have to even reference in a reference material. These laws are posted on the wall in every business, okay? So this proves a lot, okay? It proves a lot about what we deny, which is the truth, okay? We deny that racism exists, but it does exist. It's in your face. We deny that people are ignorant, but they are, okay? So it's just an eye-opening thing to look at. And so anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. I just wanted to get that off my chest. So take care and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.